But first, a little bit of housekeeping here. You can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com to be a part of the show.
Oh no. Brian's internet died.
Oh, no, really?
He can always hear us, but he's probably listening to us right now.
He's probably
literally just
he's saying shit so many times in a row.
I'm not. I'm still here. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Invincible Podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends get to sit around and talk all things Invincible, a comic book by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and joining me today is Bill.
Oh, hi everybody.
And TJ.
Wow, you straight up took my gag from the first take that we did that didn't end up working out.
I did, and no one will know the difference or know any better.
Nope, this is definitely the first take we've done on this because we're video now. If you're listening to this podcast, you can check us out over on YouTube, where hopefully everything went according to plan. Even though this is the second time I've said that, so it's kind of ominous. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Super eager to talk about everything on this episode. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
We got a lot.
We have a lot
of Invincible news, man. We're also going to talk a little bit
now. It just keeps coming and coming.
It really does. It does. Invincible Friday, man. Before we get to that, there are a couple other things we want to go over. First up, housekeeping. If you want to be a part of the show, you can email us, like a few of you did, over at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. You can check out our website, which is theinvinciblepodcast.com. All the episodes are listed there with links, as well as all of our videos in a handy place, contact guide, reading order if you're just getting into Invincible and you want to know where all the tie-ins fit and everything. We are also the Oblivion Song Podcast. If you like Robert Kirkman's writing and you are into Invincible or Walking Dead, check out Oblivion Song. Now is a good time to catch up, right?
Now is a perfect time to catch up.
Yeah. We do episodes covering each new release, and we'll be. Our most recent one was just released on issue 31.
30. Issue 30.
30.
Yep.
And where we talked all about that issue, as well as the announcement of the end.
Yeah, announced the end of Oblivion Song will be 36 issues, so there's 6 more issues to go, which will start coming after a short break. Mm-hmm. It'll start coming out again with issue 31 in June, and then we'll end in November.
Yep.
And it's a freaking doozy right now. So, like, it's only 36 issues. It's only 30 as of now. Mm-hmm. Now's a good time to check it out.
Yep. It's the end. It's the end game. It's like watching. It's like starting the Marvel universe now, and then knowing that you have Endgame like at the end of it. You know.
And not nearly as much content.
No, and you've got a few months, before things start picking back up, so you have some time to read all 30 issues. Mm-hmm. We've recently started doing these live streams as well. We did our first one where we talked about the trailer and such, and we're planning on doing another, focusing primarily on some of TJ's art and commissions that he's gotten at conventions and so on, all Invincible related. So
it's gonna have to be a 3-part episode.
Oh, it's going to be multiple episodes. I'm asking TJ to just put together how many do you think we should do in an episode of that, or in a live stream of that?
I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe 10, because we could talk about other things. Maybe we'll do some other stuff on that live stream.
How many do you have total? TJ?
I think I have like 60 to 70 of both.
Oh my god!
I have like 60 to 70.
Just
Invincible related, and then I have like 80 Batman family related.
Yeah. What's the cheapest one, TJ? What's the cheapest one?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
$100?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like I have like small ones, like almost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. Keep an eye out on our Twitter and so on. We'll be announcing when that will be. It'll probably be about a week or so from when you're hearing this, if you're hearing this on the release day. We're aiming for the second week of March. We're going to aim for the second week of March to do that live stream. And again, we want to do those live streams as a way to do more stuff visually that isn't part of a formatted podcast. You know, if you want, go watch our other one, and you'll see what we're going for. You might also be wondering, hey, you guys said something about a Robert Kirkman interview and got some questions for it. And this episode isn't titled Robert Kirkman Returns. So where's that interview? Well, thanks to Amazon Prime for hooking us up with that interview. But they also asked that we hold on to it for a little while, which makes sense. They want us to release it closer to the release of the animated series. So you'll see it soon. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm excited for everybody to see it.
Was fun.
Twas. And it's, probably won't be the last time he's on. We'll say that.
That was a very Kirkman thing of you to say.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, just the way you said it.
We also want to, before we talk about all the news, we wanted to talk a little bit about who we are, because we noticed that there were a lot of new listeners checking us out, and with the rise in popularity of Invincible around the animated series. And I also want to bring up spoilers. So we've seen a lot of people asking how much we spoil Invincible, if there's going to be spoilers in our podcasts, and we wanted to bring that up pretty early on. We know that this episode will probably be one that people jump on, or find pretty easily over the next month or so, and we thought now would be a good time to discuss that. So, because we're very aware of not wanting to spoil Invincible for people. Just that recent live stream that we did, someone got into the chat and was asking questions and like, are they spoiling this? Are they gonna give spoilers? And everybody in the chat was like, get out. Which shout out to everybody, because that was great. But yeah, this is episode 94. Like, we're a podcast about the Invincible comic book. We're going to be talking about the comic book. So if you've not read it, we definitely recommend reading it. We've kind of developed this show and got listeners based on, being a place to talk about this thing that we love and we're passionate about. And over the course of the next few episodes, we're going to be comparing things to the animated series and how it happened and how it was different, and predictions based on what we know. We don't know what's going to happen in the animated series, so we're not going to spoil that, obviously. But if you don't want to know what could happen based on what the comics are, maybe go check out the first 25 issues or so. That being said, first 25 issues, is going to be kind of fair game. We're not going to be spoiling. We're not going to blatantly be spoiling how the series ends, or major deaths later in the series, or characters that, and things that happen.
And if we do talk about that, we'll put a disclaimer up, like, we have something to say.
Yeah, of course.
Again, Ryan, like Ryan is saying, it was like, we're calling out the first 25 issues. Go read that and then come back. But we still don't know for sure. We're guessing. We don't know. This could go to the Invincible War. We don't know. Yeah. So
there's a spoiler right there. What's the Invincible War?
Yeah, but again, we're also being aware that, like,
right.
You could say something like that. You could say something like, "What's a Dinosaurus?" And
right.
It doesn't really spoil anything. We're just going to be a little bit more careful out of respect for all the new people that are the new fans of Invincible. I don't want anyone to accidentally stumble on this and get something spoiled for them, because we want people to enjoy Invincible, and we want to be that place for you to come after you've read Invincible, while you're reading Invincible, and check out the new readers. If you're a new listener and you're interested in Invincible and you're reading Invincible, Bill, and you're reading Invincible from the beginning, we have episodes called New Reader Volume 1, Volume 2, and so on, where I sit down with our friend Brittany and Bill's wife Liz, and we read through Invincible from the beginning, from the point of view of someone who has never read it before, and they didn't really have that much experience in comic books in general. And so it was really cool seeing their reactions and hearing their theories as they progressed through the comic book. So Is that it on spoilers, do you think?
That was a lot about spoilers. I think that we have like
I think Bill and I need to just be the ones to talk for like
Please
the next hour.
Go for it. Well, how about this then?
I don't really want to talk to Bill though, so
well, you guys can just talk, just not to each other.
Here's the thing too. Like, our podcast will evolve to be a place that not only the readers can come in and discuss, but also the watchers. Like, there are people who don't want to read the comic and don't want to have things spoiled for them, and I think that that's good too. And to Ryan's point, when we're reviewing episodes, we're solely going to really talk about that episode. And I think that it will be a safe place. To your point, Ryan, that's the great thing about Invincible, is that there are so many threads and everything's interconnected for like the entirety of the series that it's hard not to talk about some things, not in detail, just mentioning.
Like Ryan said, I mean, the first 25 episodes, because like
issues,
we are going to be talking about the big twist, because even if it's not happening in the episode that we just watched, like we're going to be like, oh, when is it happening? Did this lead up to this? Like, we're going to be talking about certain things. Yeah. We're just not, there's no point in going too deep.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's okay. The vast majority of our listeners are people who are writing in questions about the end of the series or about how we think certain things are going to play out. So I know that the majority of you watching this right now have already read it. We just wanted to put that little disclaimer out there for anyone that does stumble upon this podcast.
If people haven't listened to it from the beginning, which not a lot of people have other than like myself, what episode do you think people should start at, Ryan? What numbered episode do you think that like is a good number? Like,
if people have read Invincible, 50. That's just pretty much what I tell people. It's been almost 50 episodes from now, and that was the Robert Kirkman interview. We talk about the final issue. We get a lot out there. It's a huge episode, and then from there, it's just kind of been what we've been doing since the series has been out. And I would recommend people. I try and title the episodes to be. You know what you're getting. Hey, they're going to play Super Fight, or hey, they're going to be talking about Rexplode in this issue or this episode, or hey, this is when the movie was announced. I'm going to listen to them freak out. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because I do want to talk about all this. Let's back it up a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about who we are. We met each other back in high school for the most part. I met TJ a little bit earlier than that when we were younger. Bill, I met you senior year of high school, but we mostly, the three of us, started really hanging out and getting to know each other as we all started working at the same movie theater together. This was in 2005 roughly when Ryan and I met. So just to give you like an actual time frame. So yeah,
Ryan and I met friends of family, and I think we went to the same church and everything. Met you when I was 11.
Yeah. Yep.
That was 22 years ago. Holy shit, Ryan.
Wow. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Yeah, we're old, man. We're getting there. I met Bill because he saw me in the computer lab at high school, and he's like, "Hey, man, look at this." Just some random kid that he had never met before, and he wanted to show me the new Batmobile. It was leaked footage of the Christopher Nolan Batmobile, and it was just like this black tank blob because it was like off someone's Nokia flip phone in like downtown Chicago.
Driving to Chicago, yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh my god, I remember that. It's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah,
that was one of those. That was one of those moments where, like, I feel like when we're watching like The Last Airbender, and you look around to see if someone's watching with you, and you're like, "What? You were a stranger." I'm like, "Batmobile."
Yeah, exactly. And then we started watching. Like, we turned our lunch period into movie nights. So instead of hanging out in the computer lab during our lunch period, not movie nights, but just movie periods, we would watch like the extended Lord of the Rings edition across like 2 months. Throughout high school. And, it's kind of obvious how that turned into working at a movie theater. So over time and, knowing you guys, we started working at the same movie theater together where we worked at for a very long time. In fact, TJ and I were working as waiters at Denny's for a little while. And then we both just ended up being just at the movie theater. But around that time and a little before that was when we really started getting into comics. What were you like? What kind of comics and superhero stuff were you into as a kid, though, TJ?
I mean, not to go with the most popular ones, but Spider-Man and Batman were my two like big things, and Ninja Turtles. But I wouldn't, really call. I wasn't reading the comics when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I was like my favorite show growing up, and I think this is the same as Bill, was Batman the Animated Series was number one, and nothing could beat it growing up. So it was definitely Batman. When I started getting into comics, specifically comics, I started with Spider-Man, and I have like a lot of old Spider-Man comics, and then slowly started getting into DC comics, and then once I read Batman Hush by Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb, that's when I feel like I transitioned into like an adult nerd, where like it took over. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of my, that point where I fell in love with comics. Yeah. And then I started reading Batman, ever since then. And that was years ago, and I still read it. And then started obviously getting into more
independent
stuff later on. So, yeah.
So for me, I was always a lover of like other forms of, superhero stuff. Like to TJ's point, the animated series, movies. Like when I was little, Michael Keaton Batman was like my god. It was like the only thing that I would watch. It's the only I like worshipped it. And I remember very specifically the first comic I remember buying. Like I'm sure I got like comics here and there, like at Topps or something like that. Topps is a supermarket around here. But the first comic book I bought was Hush. And that's so weird, TJ, because it was the same. Like I saw the cover. Me and Liz were at her trailer down at Silver Lake, and there's this little teeny tiny comic shop. I'm like, oh my god, let's go in there. Why not? And I bought like the individual comics of Hush. And then I also bought the trades, and I also bought a leather-bound Frank Miller's Year One, because I had never read it before. And that was like my first dive into like actual comics. And from there I collected, and started buying DC comics and stuff like that. But and then The Walking Dead was really the first kind of introduction that we had. But Ryan, you should probably go. So what about your history with?
As a kid, it was, ironically, I was the Marvel guy. It was X-Men animated series. I absolutely watched Batman, the animated series, but X-Men was more my jam. And I remember the first thing that first nerdy, comic book type thing that I was getting into was the 95 Fleer Ultra chromium trading cards, and there are these. I still have them. They're the coolest cards, and I used to walk to the corner store or ride my bike there when I was younger, and get these packs of cards and trade them with kids in school and everything. And they're just the coolest ones, which I'm just now realizing is probably why I love the Chromium Invincible 100, just because that Chromium thing is it's just such a cool thing. And maybe
it does bring you back to the 90s, doesn't it? Yes. To finding a shiny Pokemon card or
exactly.
Anything that was shiny was the best thing ever.
And then I just had to look up the year that it came out. The first comic book I bought, I got my dad to buy it for me. It was in '97 because it was on the shelf, so I'm assuming it was around that time. And it was called Wolverine Gambit Victims. And it was just a spin-off X-Men comic about the two of them fighting each other. And I want to say it was issue 2 out of a 3-issue arc. And it was also Jeff Loeb and art by Tim Sale. And I don't know, I've always been into more Marvel, X-Men, that kind of stuff. And then nothing for a while until movies started bringing it back. The X-Men movie, obviously, when that came out, that was a big deal. But then it wasn't until Civil War and Ultimate X-Men. And I started reading the entire run and collecting the entire run of Ultimate X-Men. And then from there, that brings us to around the time when we're hanging out and we're all working at the movie theater. And Bill, you were always into zombies, and you wanted to try and get me into zombies, and like we'd have movie nights where we'd try and watch zombie things. Now, how did you find out about Walking Dead?
This is where I'm a little cloudy because I don't remember if I bought the first trade, or TJ, did you buy it for me, or did I buy the first trade?
It wasn't me. I thought you saw the House of Fantasy, a comic shop local to us that is now closed.
I think I did. So we were walking around a comic book shop that was on Delaware, Ryan. I think it was on Delaware. It wasn't. It wasn't House of Fantasy, and I saw something. I remember it was the cover, and it was Glenn or maybe Rick,
yes,
whoever
the riot
was in
shields,
the riot armor,
the
riot armor, like over his head like that, like hammering something down. And I was like, "What is this? The Walking Dead?" And it literally didn't even stand out. Like it wasn't like on a kiosk. It wasn't like front and center. It was just like in alphabetical order right there. And I'm like, holy shit!
That was like mid-30s.
Yeah, and it was like, again, it wasn't like advertised anywhere or anything like that. And I picked it up, and then I remember I read through. I think I got like maybe the first trade, and then I had to go and get. I think it was up to 4, and I tell this story a lot, but for new readers or new listeners or watchers, I remember when I got to the part where, spoilers, Rick got his hand cut off. And it felt like it was doing something like the craziest thing I had ever seen. The main hero was getting mutilated, and it felt like it was just constantly changing. And the fact that it was like an ongoing zombie series, like I remember thinking it was like just one shots, you know. And then I got you guys into it, or we started like talking about it more. What is your first? Like, did you borrow my volume 1? Like what?
I think it was just a matter of you giving it to everyone. And then this was around the time where we would do crazy Christmas parties and get each other presents and everything like that. And I remember it was around that time where we were always buying each other the next trade paperback of Walking Dead. And then TJ found Invincible because it was by the same writer. So all of a sudden we're like, this Robert Kirkman guy.
Yeah. So Invincible started with when we all got into Walking Dead. I devoured Walking Dead like in less than a month. Like, I mean, it was probably quicker than that. And I read it so quickly that I wanted something else because I was so used to like reading every day and devouring it that I wanted something different. So probably like a week went by when I was looking for something else. And I walked into our local comic shop and I found Invincible. And I tried that, and it's the same story that you hear with everybody. I read the first trade paperback, which is the first 4, 6 issues, something like that.
First trade is like 4.
Yeah, and it was good. And I told you guys about it. I was like, yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. I read issue 2, or the second trade paperback, which is, you know, the Omni-Man, you know, the big thing that happens with him. And that's when I told you guys, I was like, you guys, this is really, really good. It's really, really good. Then, again, for my birthday, you guys got me the next 2 trades. I don't know which one of you it was, but one of you guys got me the next 2 trades. I think it was Bill, you and Liz got it for me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll read that. And then, like, and then literally, like, I read it, and then I went to the comic shop and got the next trade papaperback.
I remember this, too.
I was literally broke. I had no money. And I was like, I can be comfortable this week, or I can get the next trade paperback and live off ramen noodles. And I lived off ramen noodles and got the next trade paperback. Like, just crushed it. I was obsessed with it.
I remember vividly, TJ, being in, because we lived in a duplex. Me and Liz lived on one side, and TJ, you lived on the other side. So we spent a lot of time together. And I remember we were in the basement looking for something, and there was a box that was in the basement, and it had your Invincible trades in it. And you're like, Bill, when are you going to read this? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, eventually, I guess. I remember feeling like, ugh, I have to read something new, looking at Invincible, and I was so naive and stupid. Like,
dude,
Go ahead.
I didn't know that I had read it that long before you, because I read it while TJ and I were living together before you guys moved in together. And
I almost didn't do it like just because. Like, I was just like, yeah.
I remember TJ getting it to me, and I remember it being just because it was there, because we lived together. So it was like, yeah, okay. And then it just became the thing like, hey, did you get the new trade? Did you get that new trade paperback? And like TJ would get to the point where he'd read it and then pass it off. But I just kind of remember where I was in that house and reading Alan the Alien. You know what I mean? Like for some reason that is the earliest memories. I wish I can remember exactly how I felt reading it, but it was we just consumed it, man.
Literally, it's all coming back to me like as we're talking about it, and like put yourself in my position too, where it's like you guys are like, TJ, we already literally just read the greatest comic book that ever came out. Like whatever you give us is not going to beat that. You know what I mean? It was Walking Dead, and Walking Dead was
in its prime.
Amazing.
In its prime.
Like if anybody came to me now and said Walking Dead is still king of Kirkman comics, I would not argue that at all. Not for us, obviously, but like, it was fucking amazing. So it's like, well, I'm like, but still, I have this. Like, you please.
This was, yeah. So
you would beg. You would beg, dude.
We had caught up to monthly issues for both Walking Dead and Invincible at like right before issue 50. So they had both gotten to this point where here's this huge monumental issue, and it was a big deal, and it was a ton of fun. Like that was such a high point for us, and it was like, oh, independent comics are things. And so then we started to, explore other things and get into more comics and so on. But years later, and I wish we had done it sooner, but we had always enjoyed podcasts, especially the IGN ones, Podcast Beyond with Greg Miller and them. And then Greg Miller went on to do Kind of Funny. And so we had always been consuming podcasts, and it got to the point where as we grew up and as we were busier with our full-time jobs and hanging out less, we'd find each other going out to dinner or something like that, and just oh my God, have you read the new issue of Invincible? And like talking for an hour about what happened, because these issues become so dense.
We would go out with like a group of friends, and the entire dinner would just be the three of us talking about a comic book that none of them knew what we were talking about. And we would just control the whole night. Yeah, I remember that.
So then
it's good times, man. I fucking miss those times.
It's funny because the format of our podcasts and our shows, like it's just a more like organized version of real moments that we would have in our lives. Like we would literally have these same conversations. We would make the same predictions. Like me and TJ would fucking fight with each other constantly over stuff. Like
nothing's changed.
Yeah, you like everybody that's listened to a podcast has been in the same room with us 10 years ago when we're talking about Invincible. Really, honestly, it's incredible.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, we're back. Sorry about the edit. Computer messed up because, of course, this is what happens when we try to go to video. So yeah, that's pretty much how we got into Invincible. Invincible became that thing that we were always talking about and wanted to share those conversations. And so we've talked about, across 93 other episodes about what Invincible means to us and how much we love Invincible and what we love most about it and favorite characters and favorite issues and all that kind of stuff. But, we wanted to, share that with people. And, we've done different videos, we've played different games, we introduced the new reader episodes. We've, at first we were talking about just the new issues that would come out. And then obviously when the issues ended, it just became more of a deep dive into all the tie-in comics and the news that was coming out about the movie and the animated series and everything, the kind of stuff that, we had talked about a little bit before getting into this section here. So, but that brings us to where we're at now, which, by the way, I didn't say it at the top of the episode. This is our 5-year anniversary. This is 5 years of doing this podcast. Which is pretty cool.
Hooray.
March 16th is our birthday. And it's a pretty cool month to have a 5-year anniversary. So
of the Invincible podcast.
Yeah.
The same month that the Invincible animated show comes out.
Yeah.
So speaking of it being a good month, last month was ridiculous. Ever since the last episode of this podcast was released, there is so much news to talk about. So we're going to spend the rest of the episode, or at least most of the rest of this episode, talking all about that news. I'm kind of going to go in chronological order, just, because that was the easiest way to gather all this news. So it's definitely not the biggest news first. But we'll get there. Radiant Black came out. You know, if you've listened back a couple episodes, we had writer Kyle Higgins on the podcast to talk all about Invincible and Radiant Black. And that issue came out. He gave us a shout out in the letters column in the back of the issue, which was awesome. I hope you guys got a chance to pick that up, and I'm excited to see what everybody thinks of issue 2. We got a chance to read that ahead of time, and so I'm looking forward to discussing that more with everybody once they get their hands on it. Amazon revealed the first official poster for the Invincible animated series.
So good, so fucking awesome.
Did you guys like that?
TJ? I loved it. TJ did not like it. I'm sure you liked it, TJ, but you didn't like it for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons, yeah. So, I mean, we're going to get into this a little bit more later. However, what worried me when first seeing it was the fact that, it's showing Omni-Man in a bad light. It doesn't look very good. It's still leaving it open so people could assume that maybe or not see it the way I'm seeing it. Yeah. I know that there's the argument I'm only seeing that because I know the comic, but I don't know. I mean, and then the trailer came out, which we'll get to. So, but obviously the promo came out first. So when I first saw that, I was a little it looks amazing. It looks crazy. But I didn't want people to know too much too early.
I don't know whether or not people are going to think that of that. He might just look like a tough guy. You know what I mean? Does he look?
Yeah.
Does he look bad?
I try to detach myself and look at it through the eyes of
So do I.
Like if I were to show it to my mom, I'd be like, "Mom, what do you think of this?" She'd be like, "Oh yeah, well, I wonder what happened to him. He's all bloody. Who's that in the background? I don't know."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She wouldn't be like, "Oh, I know everything now."
Yeah. We'll see. But yes, it is really cool looking. There was a week where the official Invincible Twitter account was posting GIFs every single day leading up to the Friday, which was going to be the release of the trailer. And so they did a GIF of every Teen Team member leading up to it. And those were really cool because for several of the characters, that was a first somewhat in motion.
First time we've seen them.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
It was the first time.
For pretty much all of them. Yeah.
Then we also, on the same day, that Monday, we got the reveal of a new cover. So yet another reprint of issue 1 of Invincible coming out on
March 17th.
That's
St. Patrick's Day.
That's a week before the animated series then, right? Yeah.
Yes.
The 13th is next Saturday.
Days before.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on a Wednesday.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks and 1 day before. 2 weeks and 1 day.
2 days.
Yeah, because the 21st is the Friday before.
No. It's 1 week and 2 days.
1 week and 2 days.
Yeah.
I was like 2 plus
1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1.
Okay. So yes, new Ryan Ottley cover in the costume style of the animated series. Eve with the shorts, Rexplode with the goggles. Looks cool. Reprint of number 1. You know what I haven't thought about? Is there going to be anything in that issue? Anything else?
Of course.
What's going to be in that issue? What is it?
Oh, like in the back?
Yeah, just like how the free comic book day issue had some stuff in the back.
It's not going to be anything like any kind of big reveals or anything like. It's just going to be more pictures that we probably hadn't seen up until that point.
Oh, that's exciting. I've just been thinking it's just the cover, but you're right. They're probably going to be something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Feel like, to your point, what more are they going to show? Because we're past looking at pictures.
You're right.
Now. We have a full length trailer. We have a clip.
I mean, in the trailer, I'm expecting what was in the free comic book day. Maybe some stills, some character models. We've seen Battle Beast in the trailer. Maybe there's just a full character design of him or something.
There's no way they would do that.
No, keep it under wraps as much as they can.
Yeah.
And then before the trailer, they did reveal that, speaking of that free comic book day one, I guess I should say the local comic shop day one with the gold foil, there is a red foil version, and that was going to be for the Comics Vault Live sale. And that went on sale and sold out instantly.
It is
instantly
sick looking. It is sick looking.
Just that red.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It pops. It's so awesome.
It is cool. I can't believe how fast it sold out. Usually Invincible stuff goes fast on Comics Vault Live, but that went really fast.
We've seen some fans got it. Didn't who was it? Was it Wyatt? Did
Wyatt got one? Yep. But
Wyatt got one.
I've seen a decent amount of fans not get it too. And they're the fans that usually are able to get it. That's how fast this thing went. So still really cool. Then it happened. Then we got the first full-length trailer. We don't need to talk at length about it here because we have a reacts video over on our YouTube page, as well as our first ever live stream where we literally go frame by frame, and I kind of regret doing that. And you can see in the live stream as I cringe as we do it because we're seeing too much.
We're finding things out,
Yeah, but it was still. I mean, it's an awesome trailer. It shows it. I still feel confident that everything it shows is in like the first 3 episodes, so it's not that bad, but God, that's
literally what we do, and it's what we've always done though. So like, if this is one of your first forays into the Invincible podcast, what we did with that trailer was our fucking lives when we were
every issue.
When we were.
And what they're referring to is the fact that we were doing still frames, and once it was still, we were seeing things in the background that we hadn't seen when we first watched the trailer all the way through, and being like, oh, well, that means that this is going to happen, and that means, and like things.
And it's all still theories.
Yeah, it's all still theories, but like, it's things where it's like, oh, are we learning too much?
Also, in that trailer, it was revealed that Justin Roiland is a voice in it. And
so that's Rick and Morty.
Yes,
one half of the creators of Rick and Morty. Yeah.
So in the live stream, we talked about different characters that he might possibly voice, and the chat and everything was suggesting different things, and we kind of settled on maybe Octobos or maybe. Do you guys remember the other one?
The comic creator.
Oh,
the
Flip
comic
Shape.
creator. Yeah.
Which would be really funny as well.
Yeah.
As I was thinking about recording tonight, I was, thinking about this, and I'm like, who else he would be really good at? Shapesmith. What if he's Shapesmith? Because we know Mars is happening, right? Because we've got Dijon Hounsu as the Mars Emperor. What if we get Shapesmith? That might be cool.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, maybe. I feel like he would do a better job as like Octobos or
something dumb.
Even Tether Tyrant. God. Someone like that wouldn't be so prominent, but that's a good one, Ryan. That's
also on that because this was all during the Skybound Expo, the Creators Expo. They released a bunch of new Invincible merch. And if you are watching us right now on our video that will hopefully not be destroyed again, Bill is drinking out of one of the new Invincible mugs. TJ is wearing his new sweater. TJ's got the other mug now. So TJ, that mug is much bigger.
That's the big one that I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. What else did you guys get?
So I got the black version of the hoodie that TJ got, which I think you also got, Ryan.
Yes.
Right?
And TJ, is Mark on the back of that one too? The white one?
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
Dude, I didn't know that he was on the back of it. Did it promote that?
Yeah.
On the site? I must have not.
You just bought so fast.
I did. I was like, oh, cool. Black Invincible hoodie. Buy. Mug buy. So then when I open it up and I turn it around, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm super stoked.
So yeah, I think I got everything. I got all 3 mugs. I got the hoodie in white, the hoodie in black, the shirt in white, the shirt in black. And I threw a mystery box in there too. I haven't gotten the mystery box yet though, but I got pretty much everything else.
I got, like Bill said, the black hoodie. I got the white mug with the yellow lining inside. And then I went with the navy hoodie with the logo, or I'm sorry, the navy t-shirt, because under white t-shirt, you can change the color, and they had a bunch of different colors. So I went with navy. Yeah.
I don't think I caught that one.
Yeah. So
so it was white, black, navy, and what else?
I mean, pink, blue, purple. I mean, there was a ton of colors. It was just kind of like make your own color. Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I already spent enough. Now I got to go back on the site.
Now you got to go back and get it in every color.
Shit.
Yeah. No, I was torn between navy and heather black. Oh, I like the heather black. Like the.
I think I would get, if they have like a dark purple, I think I would get like a purple.
They used to have
like
a purple,
purple,
but it was a little bit more royal.
Royal, yeah. Maybe. Who knows?
So yeah, pretty cool that we got some new Invincible merch. There was also a Robert Kirkman did a Entertainment Weekly article, which was neat. Mostly just him talking about how Invincible is he compared it a lot to The Boys, and how The Boys is very much what did he call it?
That kind of breaks like it doesn't make fun of, but it like what did he use? He used a really good word, like it breaks down, like it tears down superheroes.
Tears down superheroes.
Yeah, tears down superheroes.
Where this is more of a celebration of superheroes, and at its core, a family drama. But it was a cool article. Then, so the Cory Walker blog. This post was from like a month ago, and we hadn't seen it. Nobody had pointed this out to us.
No one saw it. No one did anything about it.
Remember when, like, 2 months ago or whatever, we saw that King Immortal sketch, and it was or drawing, and it was Cory Walker saying, "Oh yeah, just drawing this character for no particular reason. Definitely not. Definitely has nothing to do with the new comic book I'm drawing or anything like that." He basically did the same thing with Marky, and it's a teenage, like early or late teens, early aughts or whatever, or early 20s Marky. Like what
I'd say teenager tops. Like I'd say in the comic book,
he definitely doesn't look
as Marky. He looks a little bit older, maybe okay, like 13, like 13 to 15 level. I wouldn't say 20, not even close to 20.
Yeah.
So this blog too has not even been promoted by him or anybody else. Like I don't think anybody even really knew about it, but it was just sitting in his Twitter bio. Yeah.
It's like right there. It's like right there for everybody to click on and
can't say we found it ourselves, but we had a little nudge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just gonna take full credit for it, but
you
whatever.
would. But I mean, come on, guys, it's happening, right?
So Cory Walker,
he's definitely drawing some kind of sequel one-off comic or issue
for the casual fans of Invincible, either the comic or the show that really don't dig into like who created what. Cory Walker drew the first seven issues. Helped design pretty much every single character, like co-created it with Robert Kirkman
throughout the
and then
full
he's also the creative. He's also the creative designer on the show. So
he also created characters later in the show too, or later in the comic too. Like even though Ottley was the main illustrator, he designed all the costumes later on.
Yeah. So Cory Walker is also like the creative designer on the show. So like all the new merchandise, everything like that looks like an updated version of Cory Walker's art. So this is exciting. Cory Walker is someone who like to definitely pay attention to in the coming months, because we're gonna see something connected to him. We have to.
Yeah, it has to be this year.
Everything points to it.
It has to be this year. I'm like preparing myself for like late fall. You know what I mean? If he's teasing it now.
Listen, Robert Kirkman is not. He's finishing. Oblivion Song is ending. They're on a hiatus until June. So that's plenty of time to take a break from writing.
Oh, he definitely written it. He's already written it. Yeah, whatever it's done.
If they're drawing it, it's written.
It is. It's absolutely there.
Oh my God. What were the predictions that we made for the year 2021? I said that by 2022 January, we will
have read.
It will be announced and we will know what it is, but we won't have it yet. That was my prediction.
I think it's going to be this year.
You think it's going to come out this year?
I'm thinking it's coming out this year too.
I think it's coming out this year. Yeah,
it's going to be late though. It'll be late this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's going to keep that momentum going. There's going to be a steady stream of Invincible stuff, because after the show comes out, hopefully it's a big thing. And then there's going to be the announcement of the comic book. And then the comic book's going to release a couple months later, or whatever, 4 months later, probably late summer to fall, I would say.
Yeah. Exciting times, man. Exciting. Then wrapping up our news here was the IGN Fan Fest. So we knew they were going to.
I like how you're like, oh, we're going to wrap it up with this. Like,
wrap
this
it up
is
with
a
this.
fucking
Oh, I know.
big thing.
So again, I remember this happening, and it's like, oh yeah, this is starting now, and watching it at work, and like, what is happening here? They were like playing the whole show. I didn't expect this. So it's
No one did.
No. So IGN's Max Scoville goes on with half the cast again, similar to the Comic-Con from Brazil, but instead of Zachary Quinto, we had
Jason
Mantzoukas this time. Yeah. And it was a really cool chat. And they were talking, and they're like, all right, let's show a scene. And it was like, oh, okay, another scene. Then what preceded was like, it felt like 10 minutes. It was probably like 3, but
I feel like between that clip and the clip that we saw of them playing baseball and the trailer that we got, I feel like we have seen probably a third of the first episode.
Oh my God.
Like, we've seen so much. I mean, we don't know if those are all in the first episode.
Time-wise, that doesn't make sense. But yes, because if these are our episodes, we've only seen maybe 6 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't
both
seen
clips together. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. It just feels like a lot.
Doesn't it?
It feels
Doesn't
like a lot.
Like,
it was like one scene after the other scene after another scene.
Did you get the feeling like
shit.
halfway through you're like
you're like watching the show, like you have popcorn and you're just like, oh wait, what happened to the episode?
All right, so it starts with Mark watching the TV, and he mentions that the Mauler twins attacked the White House, which is cool. And Debbie walks in. Debbie walks in. Nolan walks in, and it felt Debbie was she said something along the lines of like, "Oh, isn't it? It gets destroyed all the time or something," and it felt a lot like the scene in the comic when Mark goes downstairs and he's watching TV, and it's Nolan fighting the dragon.
Yeah. But he even says like, Dad's at the White House right now fighting the Maulers, and she's like, "Oh, is anybody with him?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, the Guardians of the Globe are there."
Just eating a bowl, like very casual, just very casual talk.
Oh my gosh, it felt good too. Like I feel like we got a good glimpse of Mark and Debbie in this and how they sound.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and the scene
like
coming
how,
up
I
with
like
the
how,
just
I like how sorry, go ahead.
No,
go
just
ahead.
Debbie and Nolan being like really affectionate and goofy, and Mark being like, "Oh my God," like that was great.
What I was going to say is I liked the little call out from Debbie. She called out 2 other people. She said, it's not like the Lizard League or somebody else. Doc Seismic? No, she didn't call out Doc Seismic.
I remember her saying Lizard League. Maybe it was Doc Seismic.
I think it was Doc
too.
Seismic. It was Doc Seismic and the Lizard
Dude,
League.
Okay.
Calling
But
out the
I think that's
Lizard
cool.
League, like
Yeah,
that's a
that's
really
awesome.
that's a little bit of a deeper pool. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you were saying, Ryan, too, is like the thing that I fucking loved about that clip most is that we don't get in the comic is seeing the more of the relationship between Mark and his parents. Like we never really saw like bickering or any kind of back and forth like that.
Like,
in the
you
comic
guys are
that
going
much.
to Germany? Come on.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
don't make me get the spray bottle, like things like that.
Yeah.
Like, and he like puts the cup down and he's like, you know, we shouldn't be talking about sex in front of your children. Like things, you know what I mean? Like that was awesome.
Yep. I like Nolan saying that you should be getting your powers any day, even on Viltrum, by their 18th birthday.
Late
He
bloomers.
called them a late bloomer, which is awesome because it's like calling it out, something that was just kind of not retcon, but like in the comics, it's just assumed that, okay, so he got his powers late because he was a late bloomer. But it's very clearly stated in this, he's a late bloomer.
Right. Well, what's funny is that we later on at the end, spoiler territory, right? Like there are other, like what you're saying, other Viltrumites,
young
like that, young Viltrumites, and they all get their powers like way quicker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we talked about that. We're like, wait a minute,
Why?
none of that really makes sense. And to your point, Ryan, it was like a nice little like, oh hey, by the way, just so we don't get called out. Yeah.
Yep. It's great. And then we're back, and now we're at Reginald Bell Johnson. We talked about this a bunch. William, open from the get-go.
Openly gay.
Openly gay. The mustache comment about Omni-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Mark.
straight talk.
Too Mark.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought Amber was awesome. I really like her voice. Zazie Beetz is doing a very good job with her.
Zazie Beetz, she does great as her. Yeah.
Todd, that whole conversation with her, Mark standing up, and I like how the music like built, and it was like, well, maybe I am like Omni-Man, and then he just gets knocked out.
Gets pummeled, yeah.
Yep. And then the Burger Mart scene, which was just, I don't know if it's my favorite part of this whole thing. There's something about it.
My favorite part, and I feel like because we knew it was coming, so we're like this, you know what I mean? The best part of that scene, the Burger Mart scene, and the entire clip that they showed was him lifting the lid up.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it falling down and doing it again.
Anyone that's ever had to take out trash for a restaurant or a movie theater, anything like that, knows what it's like to just and just like and the lid closing on you.
It was perfect because even if the wind's blowing from like the other end, it's impossible to get that fucking lid up. And it was so funny. I fucking loved it.
All the timing of it, and then just the last bag before he throws it is just it all. He struggles so much, it emphasizes how quick the bag gets thrown.
It even looked realistic too, like how he's like, lugging it over, and it just like flops over, like, and then he just like throws it like it's not, like barely touches it.
Yep. And then he's like, "It's about time," and that's the line from the comic. It was so good. It's so good.
Perfect.
Now, the scene that we saw with him and Nolan throwing the ball was very much a like it felt really good. The dialogue was awesome. Bill, you and I have talked before about how Mark was very quiet in that, and he just gave, I'm fine, okay, yeah, I mean, like it was a little bit quicker. Hearing him talk in longer sentences and really show a wider range of emotion, he's perfect, man.
I love Stephen Young so
good.
much for obvious reasons. Final Space, like The Walking Dead, and I would never openly admit that I was like nervous about him playing Mark, but after seeing the baseball scene specifically, I'm like, I'm not getting anything. Like he sounds like he's just kind of like whatever. But Ryan, hearing him do full lines of dialogue in context, I threw my hands up in the air. I'm like, oh, it's fucking Mark. It's my head. Like, how did they get into my head and get his tone right and stuff like that? It's so awesome. It's so perfect.
Yeah, I loved it.
I mean, we've talked about this before too, but just their dialogue back and forth, it just feels like Mark and Nolan when they're talking to each other too.
And Debbie,
they offset each other perfectly.
Yep. So, you guys think that's all we're gonna see before March 26th? You think they're gonna show us more?
Yeah, I hope not. I'm good, but
I'm good.
Right. We're good, but they're not good. Because did you really think that we would get a fucking 3-minute long clip after getting a 3-minute long trailer? This is a lot though. They can't keep showing stuff. Long clip.
Maybe it's just it's just spots. Maybe they'll do the TV spot kind of thing.
It's gonna ramp up.
I think it's
gonna get more and more. It's gonna get more and more intense. I hope we get TV spots. I hope.
We will.
I hope I'm watching an Amazon show.
And it plays before.
And the promo beforehand is invincible. I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to get my children out of bed. And I'm going to show them. I'm going to show them.
Yeah. After that, the rest of the IGN Fan Fest, couple notes here, which was a great conversation across all of them. Jason Mantzoukas is ridiculous. Yeah, he was so funny.
We always talk because I'm a big Rexplode fan. And I've been, curious to hear his voice on Rex and everything. And we did get the one line in the trailer where he said, bored of this.
Yeah.
But just after hearing him talk and his personality, his own personality on that interview, like Jason Mantzoukas was making fun of everybody else, and he was talking about how his character is the best, and like
it makes
he is Rexplode.
That's the thing. Even if the voice isn't exactly what you heard when you read it, he's going to carry that just on him, on who Jason Mantzoukas is alone.
Yeah.
Like, he's got it.
He had mentioned that he like read the comic book too, didn't he?
Even before the animated series was a thing, he had talked about how he had read the comic.
I remember listening to an interview with him and Jason Mantzoukas and Robert Kirkman that came out like years ago, and they mentioned Invincible. Kirkman talked about the freedom of animation and how if you wanted to crack the moon in half, you could do that, and you know how that's been. Greg Miller asked a question, and they talked about how a lot of storylines have been maybe moved up, or things have been sped along, or things have been kind of streamlined a little bit. So,
like we've been talking about, like they have to do that.
Yeah, like
we've been theorizing for years.
Yep. So that's the majority of the news that has come out. We're in it, guys. Like, this is it. This is our last episode before our discussion on the first 3 episodes of the Invincible animated series.
Man,
we do have a couple emails to read. Let's see. I'm going to pull up one right now.
Okay.
This one comes from our friend Mike Barrett. If I could find it. Oh, here we go. Got it. No, I got it. All right. Hey, Invincible Podcast crew. It's me, Mike Barrett. For your first guest on your podcast from episode 10. Episode 10 seems like forever ago, but I'm glad we were right when we debated how great a R-rated 1-hour animated Invincible show would be via Skype, not Zoom, more than 4 years ago. Although I don't write in often, I've never missed an episode. You guys are a joy to listen to, and I look forward to every episode and can't wait to hear you all talk, all your hot takes about the show. It's been a while since we last chatted, so I thought I'd make up for lost time by providing multiple questions for debate.
He must think that we have an additional 2 hours for the show.
Right. So he's got like 3 or 4 questions in here that we'll break it down here. First one: if you could have any one cast member join you for an episode of the podcast, who would it be, and why is it not Mark Hamill? Now, we can only get one, meaning it's this person and then no one else. We only get one shot.
So can I do a caveat to this? I think the one like if we're the Invincible podcast, can I say besides Stephen Yeun? Because if we can get anybody, wouldn't we all agree that it would be Stephen Yeun to talk about Invincible? He's Invincible.
I would have said Stephen Yeun, yes. But we could say other than Stephen Yeun. That's kind of like saying who's your favorite character other than Invincible. I get it.
Okay.
I disagree. He wouldn't be my first choice. And maybe this is where the debate should start. My fucking debate, or my choice would be J.K. Simmons all day long.
I think our first 2 choices across all 3 of us would be those 2.
Yeah.
Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then there you go.
I feel like listening to J.K. Simmons talk on the interviews, especially the one on on IGN, he's such a smart guy, and he's quick. He breaks down dialogue and makes it like an art form, and he just picks apart so much stuff, and like, I don't know, man. Plus, like Whiplash, for the most part. But yeah, I would love to hear J.K. Simmons break down his like what he thinks of Nolan and his backstory and his motives.
Especially him being someone who admittedly has not read the comics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which, a little tease, we did get to talk to Robert Kirkman about that too, and that was one of the best parts of our talk with Robert Kirkman, is talking about the actors and what they bring to the role based on what they read on the comic and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Stephen Yeun though, dude. I mean, Minari just came out, and I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but I can't wait. I've been hearing such great things about that.
It's getting great reviews, dude, great reviews.
Between that and all the other animated stuff that he's done, and obviously voicing Invincible and knowing a little bit of what Robert told us about like his method and everything like that, dude, getting Stephen Yeun would be ridiculous. So yes, he'd be my first pick. J.K. Simmons the second. So yeah. I
mean, yeah, there's them for sure. But going outside of the box and addressing something that Mike asked us specifically, if we're talking about Invincible. If we're having this guest on to only talk about Invincible, it probably wouldn't be Mark Hamill. But if we're talking to him like we did with like Kyle Higgins and going through everything that he's done,
oh my God,
of course it would be Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
he's Luke Skywalker. He's the Joker. Like, it would be Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just wanted to address that.
All right.
But then again, sorry, because Jason, say his last name for me.
Mantzoukas.
Would be an awesome fanboy conversation.
He would be really fun.
Because we could literally talk about Invincible.
He would be my other one. He would be my other one.
After hearing him talk on IGN, he's probably my number 3 to have on the show. He'd be a ton of fun.
He would just be a ton of fun.
For the record, I would love to have all of these people on the show.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All of them.
Next question from Mike Barrett. How many times do you think you will rewatch season 1 in total prior to the launch of season 2? I'm going to add a caveat onto this, assuming season 2 is 1 year later. So this question is weird because it's like I instinctively want to be like 100 times. And so like I think about if this is going to be a show where I just put it on in the background all the time, what am I going to watch it at most twice a month after it's been out for a few months?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, maybe, and obviously a lot more. I'm assuming I'm going to watch like between episode 4 and 5. We got a week. I'm assuming I'm going to watch that one episode 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. So thinking about that and then playing them about 2 to 3 times a month in a year, we're looking at close to 50.
Plus, on top of that, we're going to be going like into deep dives just for the Invincible podcast.
Yeah. Take away how much we'll watch it for like the show and stuff like that, because I'm sure we'll have episodes based off of like specific scenes. You know what I mean? Like scene 102 and I think
down to the minute.
I think I'm gonna watch it most. I'm gonna watch it obviously live. We're gonna watch it together, and then I'm probably gonna watch it with like my family members who don't want to watch it. You know what I mean? I'm like, guys, can like come over? Let's get some. Let's do dinner and let's watch Invincible and see what you think. Like, and I will literally watch it probably 3 to 4 more times after that. So I think first episode to last episode, like a straight shot through, not just playing in the background. I'll probably watch it probably 10 times. I would say.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You agree, TJ? Pretty much what we said.
Yeah, what you guys said. I think it's going to be around 50, like what Ryan said. Overall,
it's a lot.
It's going to be a lot. We're going to be like. We're gonna know every word of dialogue by the time season 2 comes out, from like the start of the first episode to the end of the 8th episode.
Really hope it's good, y'all.
Yeah. Depending on it. Good.
I'm sure it's good.
What we've seen so far.
Remember?
Did you see Shar?
Yeah, totally, TJ. Harshar. Have you guys seen Fanboys?
Yes.
The movie Fanboys.
Yeah.
So it's all about them going.
Is it the Star Wars one?
Stealing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of
dude, the end of that movie.
So they go through the whole movie and then they're like, "What if it sucks?" And then that's how the movie ends.
Yep, it's great.
It could be that. It's not that. It can't be that.
Could be.
All right. Mike says this is Bill's chance to be 100% correct again, pizza bet style. And these are tough. You got to think. And we did think a little bit before this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask 2 questions. We'll start with this one. What is one unique and super specific thing from the comics that we haven't seen in a trailer or anything like that you guarantee will be in season 1? Something that's really unique.
I'll start.
Go, TJ.
One thing that I think has to be in season 1. That's a minor thing. It's not something like obvious.
Please don't pick mine. Don't pick mine.
I feel like they have to make fun of, just like they made fun of comic books, they have to make fun of animated series. Somewhere in the first season.
Okay.
I'd like to see that.
Bill?
So, you know how in the comic they specifically made fun of like using the same panel of animation over and over again to like show like a pause? Ooh. What if they do that in animation? Like Star Wars reused the same TIE fighter flying towards the screen multiple times.
Back in like old Disney animation, like if you see like what was it, like Jungle Book and Robin Hood, it's the same dancing, like they just colored it different, like they
that would be funny. I think very specifically it's almost the same as TJ's, but they're gonna have him going to a convention and like geeking out over comic books and talking to the creator about it. I don't think it's going to be about a show. I think it's going to be specifically about the comics.
Okay. Mine was, we've already seen him throw the trash bag. I want to see the graduation hat.
So where is that in?
I don't know.
Is that going to be in the first season? Like
if he graduates, he said
the graduation hat. I think was what, like 16.
I mean,
issue 16, something like that. 17?
We know. What's his name? The Flash is playing D.A. Sinclair. I'm assuming, unless he's a high school student. Mm-hmm. So we're assuming college.
He could be.
And Mark did say in the scene, can't you wait until I leave for college or something like that?
And then also in the trailer, we saw what looked like a dorm that they were sitting in when William
good call.
And him. That's the bedroom. It did not look like a bedroom. It didn't look like a bedroom.
In the comics, that happens in the bedroom.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right, but then the other half of Mike's question is, what is one thing that should have clearly been in season 1, but will be surprisingly omitted? Want me to go first?
Okay.
I went last time. Oh, this hurts.
Oh, no, get out of here.
Tether Tyrant. Yeah. We don't have a casting for him. Maybe Machine Head's only got Battle Beast. He hires like one big gun, and it's not a bunch of random guys. And it makes it more impactful because it's this big guy. No Tether Tyrant, and it will break my heart.
I can see that happening.
No.
I think that's perfect. That's exactly what Mike is looking for.
Stop putting this energy into the universe. This is bad, Ryan. Bad. No, I disagree. TJ, you can go next if you want to, since you were in the middle last time. Oh, no, you went first last time, so I should go next.
Good.
I've said this from the beginning when we were talking about, like, format and what's going to be there. I never even really liked the Scooby-Doo, in volume 1, like the high school teacher with bombs. the who's bombing the students and stuff like that. I feel like that's the perfect thing to omit from a show when you're trying to appease the masses and like condense the story, you know what I mean, and make it really really snappy. Yeah. So that's my bet.
Definitely.
Going back to what Ryan said, though, like I agree with what you're saying, but are
you gonna say Mega?
No,
Maniac or whatever. Okay.
I'm not gonna. This isn't based on my opinion. I'm just going back to what he said. You said that we don't have a casting for him yet.
Yeah.
We don't have a casting for Machine Head yet, do we?
Yeah, we do.
We have Machine Head.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have Machine Head. Okay, but I'm sure that there are characters that we don't have a casting for yet. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be in it.
I hope. Give me some Angstrom.
But I do. Oh yeah, fucking yeah. But I do agree that I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't in it, but I would be very sad. I don't have an answer for this, but there is one that I will draw attention to that was in the comic. It was kind of a big deal in the comic, but we know for a fact is not going to be in the show, and that is William and Amber dating.
Ooh.
That was a big piece. That
never happened.
Would you mean William and Eve?
That's what you mean. No. Yeah.
Or that's what I meant.
Yeah.
William and Eve. That's actually what I had wrote down.
You're right. It was enough. Yeah, that was a good chunk of it. That happened, and it won't.
What if they reverse the story though?
It was a big deal because when Invincible broke up with Amber, she was still with William.
Yeah.
Or no, the opposite. Take that, flip it.
Yeah.
You're
right. That's something that won't be in it. Yeah.
Eve was dating.
And we know it won't be in it. All right. Mike Barrett wraps up with bonus question. Other than Invincible, what other March release are you most excited for? I'm hyped for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, along with Godzilla vs. Kong and the Snyder Cut. Till next time, I have a feeling I might be writing in a bit more often now. Love, Mike.
We talked about this on the live stream or
the Oblivion Song podcast.
Oblivion Song podcast we did, yeah. Ooh. Go ahead, TJ. What were you saying?
For me, we got to call out Final Space. Final Space is coming out March 20th. we talk about it all the time. Seasons 1 and 2 are on HBO Max. Go check them out, get caught up, and then season 3 comes out on Adult Swim March 20th. It's so fucking good. But aside from that one that we always talk about, and I know I bring it up a lot lately too because I'm really excited about it, is Mighty Ducks.
Oh my God.
The Mighty Ducks show coming back.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
TJ, about Final Space, and this will give you an insight as to how I am as a father. I called Liz while I was at work, and I said, I need you to put me on speakerphone right now because I need to talk to the children. And they're like, hey, Dad, what's going on? And Remy's little voice is like, hey, Dad, what's going on? And I'm like, guys, when I get home today, I want you to know that we are going to watch season 2 of Final Space on HBO. And they freaked the fuck out. Like, I couldn't even hear anything other than screaming. And Liz was like, thanks for doing this to me. And I'm like, you're welcome. Love you. See you soon. Like, they were so excited to start season 2, and it is officially on HBO Max right now. So if you haven't watched it, do it.
Bill, knowing you, I'm surprised that you even waited.
Dude, I like, once I saw that it was coming out to HBO, I was like, Liz, we can either buy every episode right now, which we should, or wait. And she was like, let's wait. So then but it's out on Blu-ray. I thought, well, you just fucking buy it. Seasons 1 and 2. Yeah, no, or on Amazon. But we
now
bought
it's on
the
HBO,
first,
so you don't have to.
Yeah, we bought so I could get them hyped about it. I bought the first episode of season 2 because I already bought all of season 1, and we watched that. And then I was like, all right, now we have to wait 2 weeks before it comes out.
How is Final Space rated R?
No, I'd say it's a new age PG-13. Like, there's no real bad language.
I would say it is. I would say it is what you would expect Invincible to be.
No, I disagree.
It is adult, but Invincible's not like, even Kirkman said, I let my 12-year-old daughter watch it. It's not like Invincible. I wouldn't expect. There's going to be blood. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be adult. But I don't think it's going to be like cursing and like anything insane.
Yeah.
I don't think Final Space will be anything insane.
No, I mean,
Final Space is
anything insane.
Final Space is on network TV. It's not, it's not unrated by any means.
Right. All right. Bill, can you give us our other email?
Oh, yeah. Let me get that ready.
Thanks, Bill.
So this is from Ruben. Mm-hmm. He says, hey, Invincible Podcast. Hey, Ruben.
Oh, hello.
Hello. So I just saw the full trailer for the show today, and holy shit. Hey, it looks amazing. I'm loving Amber's new look, and J.K. Simmons is great as Nolan/Omni-Man. My thoughts are that the first episode will end with the Guardians of the Globe dying. The second episode will be the funeral for the Guardians, Damian Darkblood investigating their murder, etc. Then the third episode will be the big reveal and the fight with Omni-Man. That's quick. That's quicker than...
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what Ryan was saying.
Is that what you guys were saying? Oh, okay. That's why it feels wrong for me, because I completely disagree. Episodes 4, 5, and 6 will most likely set up for later seasons the Mars mission that sets up the Sequid threat, or Sequid, the Angstrom Levy backstory, and the Reaniman set up for later fight with T.A. Sinclair. Plus Mark and Amber's relationship, Mark graduating high school, and his mom becoming an alcoholic. Spoilers, by the way, for people that I think episode 7 will start with Science Dog coming to Mark's house, explaining the Viltrumite threat and asking Mark to help their planet. Episode 7 will end with the reveal of Nolan. Then episode 8, the final episode, will be the big fight that ends in Nolan being arrested by the Viltrumites and Mark being recruited as a Viltrumite agent of Earth. Wow. This would mean season...
Sorry, go on.
That's awesome. That's a really fun season 1.
That was my original prediction, that it would end with issue 25 to 28, where he opens up the door and sees Omni-Man. My final prediction was agreeing with Ryan, though, that we think it's going to be the killing in the first episode and then the fight in the third. But I really like that idea.
Sorry, Bill.
This would mean
hack season 1.
This would mean season 1 would be about the first 30 issues of the comic. These are just my predictions, but I could be wrong. Maybe it will be drawn out a lot more, and it'll end with the fight with Omni-Man. That I disagree with. Also, Haha, I'm just realizing how long of a ramble this is. Anyway, I hope you are all doing well, and I can't wait for the show. Love, Ruben.
Thanks, Ruben.
He didn't put love.
I agree with most of that timeline. We've talked this to death, so you can go back any number of episodes and we give our theories on the timelines. I think that most of that, I don't know if we're going to see Thraxia this season. I think that's best kept for next season. But almost everything up to that, I agree with. But I still don't know how the season ends then. So you're right.
It really depends. It really depends on how many seasons they plan on. Like, do they have a definitive idea of how many seasons? Because they could end it with Thraxa.
It absolutely could go to Thraxa. It absolutely could.
Yeah.
Especially what we've seen in that trailer.
Yeah.
Like, it showed a lot there.
If the big if that fight is in episode 3, then I guess it could.
It definitely could.
Did you guys get a chance to listen to the Nerds Chatting podcast? They did a whole episode on Invincible. They did a great job. If anybody is listening and wants to go check them out, they have their third chair, JB, who hasn't read Invincible, and we're going to be hearing from him throughout the course of the series to hear his thoughts on it. And they did a good job talking a little spoiler free about what Invincible is and where the series might go. But it just reminded me of that, so I wanted to bring that up and give them a quick shout out. So that does it. I don't know if I know we usually talk about some other stuff, but we did a lot of that on the Oblivion Song podcast. So if you want to hear about some other movies, TV shows, video games, and so on, other comic books that we've been enjoying lately, go check us out on the Oblivion Song podcast. That episode was just posted recently. Otherwise, I mean, we'll see you soon. We've got a packed March coming up.
We don't have an official date yet on when the Kirkman interview will be released, but keep an eye out on our social media sites, and we'll let you know.
Yep. Between that
and a good
and our next live stream, that'll be coming up soon too. Hopefully within a week or so of you hearing this, showing off some really great Invincible commissions and artwork. So we're gonna wrap this episode up. Our wonderful music is done by Wyatt Layne, an awesome person and Invincible fan. This episode is called Digital. You can check out all of his music on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you can find that kind of music, it's there, and he does great stuff. So go check him out. And thank you all for listening. I mean, this is going to be a really, really fun month. Send us your thoughts. Send us what you think is, what's the matter, Bill? What's so funny?
I'm just hoping that you do more things with your control panel. You're like, all right, so, and then that's us signing off.
Is it very clearly that I'm like looking at different notes on that?
Dude.
And then I look at TJ and then I look at you and then I'm making sure we're still recording. And well, this was fun. So I'm going to go edit this video here for the next 3 days. So hopefully no Invincible news happens in that time. All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
did something that might fix it. And yes, I could still hear you guys. I was still going. I was going for a while. And I don't know what happened.
Were we frozen?
No. Oh, no. I heard you guys talking shit. And I don't know what happened.